I mean, I had to do that in a pinch with Jackie's car, but it was either that or blow up the motor. But since you're a DIY expert, you're always prepared. You're well stocked. AMSOIL invented synthetic motor oil. I would love you if you would reach out to Zaniac Jason at jmsynthetics.com for everything you need. And, you guys who do this stuff a lot, fix cars, service your boat, stuff that I could never do. All of the lubricants you need. And AMSOIL, well, like I said, they created all this stuff, and then everybody followed suit. The only way to buy it is through a distributor, and that is Zaniac Jason, jmsynthetics.com. You can call him at 616-747-0233. Here we go.
And now, here's a guy who has never won a congeniality award at any radio station, anywhere.
I will fight you in the street.
It's the Eric Zane Show Podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
And thank you very much, Shade. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show Podcast. It is a daily expletive-filled rant festival. Me and you, and that is all. I do it right here in the Beer Bunker Studio, formerly known as the Back Alley Comedy Club Studio. Honestly, I'm hoping to name it the Back Alley Comedy Club Studio again as soon as Big Dick Donnie Veltman can get back in business. Man, hope he applied for that small business loan. Big Dick Donnie up in Howard City, Michigan. A few years ago, this guy, his dreams came true when he bought a bowling alley. I mean, think about that. Who starts their life out and says, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to own a bowling alley. Well, that was Don. Well, you see, Don got successful in bowling, and he's a pretty damn good bowler. I know more than one person who's bowled a 300 game. Big Dick Donnie's done it, and Zaniac Kevin. Dude buys the bowling alley, and then he starts working in comedy with the Back Alley Comedy Club in Muskegon over at Sherman Bowling Center. And then he starts satellite locations of Back Alley Comedy Club. And then the pandemic. Oh, my gosh. The pandemic pretty much knocked all that out. Hopefully have him back on as we try to rebuild the whole infrastructure of what we do as a culture. All right, I've got a lot of stuff to get into today. As always, let me go over the list with you. All right, here's the rundown of what we're talking about today on the Eric Zane Show Podcast. You might think that we're going to start talking about the new charges being levied against the three other cops and the increase in charges on the dumbass who murdered George Floyd. But no. Only radio idiocy could shove that to the side and make you go, oh, my God, I cannot believe it. This is, oh, God, the way this sounded. I've got audio of these radio people showing their true colors, these scumbag pieces of shit. You know what? It just dawned on me. I got to turn the fan on my air conditioner because my neighbor's going to hear me ranting, and I can't have my sweet neighbor hearing me use poo-poo caca words. Hold on. You see, the sound that what I'm talking about is I got that window rattler air conditioner in the window here of the Fear Bunker Studio, and it's white noise to the outside. Okay, and because when the window is set up in a way for the window rattler to be in there, it's much easier for my neighbors to hear me talking like an asshole. Okay, and I got to talk like an asshole, and I'm telling you, these are the nicest people on the planet. I mean, these people are so sweet, and if they hear a dumb fuck like me rattling on and on and on using the language that I use, this is not good for the neighborly environment, and I must I must protect their ears as much as I can from the filthy shit show that I put out every single day. So that's what's up with that. I feel so bad. I sure hope they haven't heard me, but I know they have. They got like 4 beautiful kids. That can you imagine if they're outside in their house, sidewalk chalk, and they hear me, yeah, fuck you, you're talking the shit that I talk. Oh my God, it just makes me sad to think about. Well, Zane, you could not talk like swear like a sailor. Fuck that, man. This is who I am. Not changing. Been changing too long for too many. I've been doing shit that other people want me to do for too long. This is much easier. Fuck it. All right. So these radio pieces of shit. This is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. And we listened to their radio career crash and burn. I've got a bunch to talk about. Kimberly and Beck in the afternoon in Rochester, New York. These two, they do like a morning show style show in the afternoon, which, frankly, I don't know how this radio station afforded that because it's an iHeart deal. And iHeart, there's not a radio company in America that isn't staring at a bleak future. It's just the most fucked up thing in the world. Hell, radio, it's remarkable. It took about a week of pandemic before they pulled out the insides of their pockets and pulled them out and said, we don't have any money. It's been a week, so everybody's got to get laid off. It's all just the stupidest shit in the world. So I don't even know how they afforded these people. But these two, man, is this bad. Most of the show's about race. Stupid shit in the news. And that's pretty much how the news cycle goes. You get a gigantic story, and then, the real fuckheadery comes out in the aftermath. After the wave crashes, and then more it takes on more of a life of its own. That's how it goes. I mean, if you look back as recently as pandemic, if you recall, it was pandemic, and then all of a sudden you've got guy spitting on a kid at the grocery store because the 17-year-old's wearing a mask. Remember those stories? And just lady coughing on the cops. That's what happens in the world. All you have to do is sit back and let the idiocy of the world dictate what is happening in our culture. You can't change the path of the river. So these stupid idiots do what they do, and we're just left to go, what the fuck? The fuck is wrong with you? Jesus. I cannot believe what I heard when I heard these two radio people do this. I'm going to play it for you in a bit coming up. Hang on, I got a cough already. Oh, my gosh. All right. The dude who got hit in the face by a tear gas canister, at least we thought got hit in the face, and then just shrugged it off. This happened here in Grand Rapids. He speaks. We'll hear from this guy and my thoughts on all of this. Veteran quarterback, Hall of Famer, first ballot, Super Bowl winner, Drew Brees, of all people. Say it ain't so, Drew. He goes out to the garage, gets a big 5-gallon thing of gasoline, and dumps it on our cultural fire of the death of George Floyd. How could you, Drew? What is wrong with you? How could you not have the ability, and I hate to use the word because I made fun of it, but it does make sense, pivot? I did. How could you not do this? Who in their right mind? Oh, God. I'm already opening it up, and I don't want to go down the road yet. I want it for you to think about, chew on it. You know it's coming. I'm going to talk about that. New charges for Derek Chauvin or Chauvin. I don't know how the hell you say his name. I've heard both. He's the dude that murdered George Floyd. All right? And, well, we'll pick that apart. And the other 3 cops have been charged as well. More on that. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, after I've talked to you in this opening rundown of things we're talking about, you got idiot radio guy, radio people, you got Drew Brees, and now a horrible new challenge on social media that is so terrible, you won't believe it. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. How can this possibly be true? Who in their right mind would do something like this? And I got a bunch more, but first, let's plant our flag on, my God, first of all, it's a miracle that I'm even here, because at 20 minutes before showtime, I wasn't even in this room getting my thoughts together and writing my notes down. If this show goes off today and you're like, you know what? It seemed like Zane was prepared and very thorough. And it seems like he must have gotten in there he must have gotten in the room at 5 a.m. Eastern time and really put in the hours on this show. If you think that, it's a miracle. I don't even know how I'm here. I'm going on instinct, and it all started with, well, first of all, I was slow, and then my bowels started to betray me. So, all right, there's that. And so then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, God. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. All right, I got to get to work. These people are always, I leave them hanging when I say I'm going to start at 8. I always start at 8 after, 10 after. And I'm like, oh, this is just a terrible thing. I've got to get more consistent on this. This is just awful. So, all right, I'm gathering myself, and I got a cup of coffee. Yeah, that's right. While I was sitting there, there's a cup of coffee. So, it's steeped in stink. And I set the coffee down, and then it happens. Except I didn't set the coffee down. I actually, where I thought was the countertop was nothing. It was air. So I basically, was a mime with a cup of coffee. Okay, except I was actually using a cup of coffee, and the mime, Eric, went to set it down, and if a mime were doing it, they wouldn't really have a cup of coffee, but I did, and then I let it go, and then, gravity took over, and it crashes to the ground, the cup explodes in a billion pieces, and there's shit everywhere, there's coffee. You ever notice that when you spill coffee, what is 6-8 ounces of coffee looks to be like 5 gallons on the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. And here I am already late, and I'm like, oh, shit. Well, I can't. I was just going to leave it there, But if I lived alone, I would have just left it there. But, that's all I need is for the temptress to come home. She's out on a walk right now. And her to come home and see the busted cup and the coffee. I wish she would have come bursting in here into this room. You'd have seen it, and threw me into a rear naked choke or an arm bar like you wouldn't have believed. She's taking all these self-defense classes. You should see her, man. She knows all these maneuvers that I'm like, what are you doing to me? And she puts me like a figure 4 leg lock or an arm bar. I'm like, all right, stop. She always bosses me around and abuses me. Oh, the shit she does to me. She put me in some wicked hole the other day, and I'm like, stop. You're going to break something. And she'd have come in here, and she'd have, laid the hammer down on me. I've been thrown around by a 4'11", 100 and nothing pounds. Ball of hatred. Ugh. Probably forced me to have sex with her again. Stop raping me. Would you stop it? I can't take it anymore. I don't know what's gotten into you. I have always heard that women hit their sexual peak in their 30s. She's an alien. It's not right. It's horrible. It didn't happen that way. She's a little bit older than I am, but I don't know, man. I think she's just a late bloomer, but it's like, shut up and lay down there. Shut up. And I'm like, what are you doing to me? Stop. No. So that's why I was like struggling. I feel like my brain is completely fried already. I haven't even started the damn show. You may notice the haircut. I talked about it yesterday. At first I was like, I need somebody to cut my hair. No way, man. I did it. I did it. I put the number 4 on the sides, and then the 3 I layered it in, and then I did the 2 and the 1 in the back, shaved the neck. I left the top alone, man, so I can get the Brian Vander Ark going. That's the goal. I got to get Brian Vander Ark hair. So if I let it grow on top, I might be looking sweet like that dude. Of course, he's 6 feet taller than I am, so there's that. That's kind of like, all right, here you go. The open of the Eric Zane Show podcast is brought to you by several key sponsors. First and foremost, the Kent County Health Department. They open up on Monday. Yeah, they've been closed. You can call them, though. You have been able to call them to get started on the WIC program. They got a skeleton crew there. But I'm waiting on word from my guy over at the Kent County Health Department. They have 4 COVID testing sites that are going to be opening up. And now they're doing all of the things that they normally would do at the health department, not testing for sexually transmitted infections and the long list of things that they do at the Kent County Health Department. Immunizations, that's all opening up starting on Monday. I'll have more details for you about that if you're the type of person who has to make an appointment in the past. Now you can just walk into their place. 616-632-7200 is their number for the WIC program if you have any questions that you want answered on that. So I know a lot going on here. They are reminding you to cough into your elbow, wear a mask, be socially distant from one another. Keep doing what you've been doing. Michigan has been a beacon of hope. All you hillbillies may bitch and moan and march on the Capitol, but Michigan has been absolutely the leader of all of the states in the District of Columbia in terms of how to handle this. The phased-in reopening has been absolutely fantastic. Though you all bitched and moaned, thank you for following as best that your hillbilly face could. Michigan's infections, you're looking at, 200-300 a day, which is remarkably low considering, and you think, oh, well, the infection's run its course. No, it hasn't, dum-dum, because not everybody has been infected. You look at states like California and Texas, they're blossoming like crazy because nobody's following the stinking rules, but you did, so thank you. That is just great news. Michigan dropping like a stone in infections, leading the nation in reduction of infections. That's a fact. That's because you've got a governor who had a plan. And again, just for in case you're new to this podcast, I don't want her to be the governor anymore. I want her out. I want a Republican in there. But when it comes to this pandemic, she has been the best. By the way, one more good thing she's done, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on in the podcast. Whitmer is looking to change the law about what cops should be doing if they're faced with a Derek Chauvin incident. That's an interesting story, and I can't wait to talk about it. A little bit further down in the podcast. All right, where was I? A&D Cleaning, Amy Porter, 616-550-3644. She wants to clean your house. She's in West Michigan. Call her up if you want to get an estimate on a recurring scenario where she heads into your house, I don't know, once a week, once a month, 2 times a week, just one time. Reach out, 616-550-3644. Guys, this is a great surprise for your wife. Hire Amy to clean the house. 616-550-3644. Blue Frost IT. Keep your fingers crossed on those folks. I got a new, proposal about keeping them on as a continuing sponsor of the Eric Zane Show podcast. They bring you my Twitter page at Eric Zane Show, the Blue Frost IT Twitter handle. They are the managed IT service provider for the show. Get more information on their managed IT service provider services at bluefrostit.com or 616-200-8550. Small and medium-sized businesses, you do have the ability to have your own IT department. It's through the folks at Blue Frost IT. All right, thank you. Okay, let's talk about Kimberly and Beck. Rochester, New York radio station. I forget what radio station. It's a rock station. I'm pretty sure about that. owned by iHeart, and iHeart did not wait at all. They fired these fuckers. They're out. That is, iHeart, they fucking love firing people. Jesus, that's like, I can't believe that they were even there in the first place. iHeart, they have like 3 employees now. So this is a fucking miracle that there was actually any people at the radio station, frankly. But these pieces of shit, Kimberly, obviously the chick on the show, Beck is some asshole who's like the leader of the bunch. And they got a producer who seems, I think it's a producer, there's a third voice in this who actually makes sense. He's the only wise one of the bunch. They better not have fired this guy in the clip. This is the same radio station that brings you legendary morning guy, Brother Wheeze. Wheeze is a fucking beautiful soul. That guy is fantastic. Brother Wheeze is famous for being one of the only morning guys in America to not fall victim to Howard Stern. When Stern was on regular radio, he'd show up in a town and he'd kick everybody's ass. Well, he never did that on Wheeze. It was interesting side note to that. And I think those two actually struck up a rapport over the years. But Kimberly and Beck, I don't know too much about these two fucks. But this is the audio that changed their lives. We're talking race. I don't understand entirely what's going on. Apparently there was an incident at one of the local, protests or riots. Who knows what the fuck. And these two dumb shits got in the weeds. Listen to this. The audio. I've been having trouble with my audio, so I hope
hear it.
Here it is.
Fourth man also confirmed it. You know, she called him the N-word. That's when they really went after her.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Were they acting N-wordish? There's your question.
They were acting thuggerly, like, I think. They're
Were they
thugs.
acting N-wordly?
Yeah. And by the way...
You can't say that. What are you doing?
No, were they acting that way?
No, you can't say that.
Hey, if that would have
Also,
been...
stop saying thugs. That's part of the problem. You
No,
can't
it's not. They're thugs.
They beat her
They're
with a
thugs.
2x4.
If you look like a thug and if you act like a thug and you got 3-on-1 and beating up a white woman with a 2x4, by God, you're a thug.
And by the way, there are people in the black community would say they are acting N-wordly.
But they can say that. You can't say that.
It's double standard. I was going to say
It
if that
doesn't
had been...
matter.
And I don't appreciate the double standard.
Well, it doesn't. Who cares?
If she had been a black woman, the N-word wouldn't have been that big a deal. They'd have walked away. But a white woman calling 3 black
You can't
guys
say
the
it.
N-word,
Can't say
bam,
it. Can't
we're
say it.
going
But
back.
they were acting that way.
But you don't understand the meaning of
No,
that.
we
I
understand.
I
No, you
understand
don't.
the meaning very
I'm
well.
telling you.
I understand the meaning very well.
I'm going to apologize to anybody offended by that right now. I'm just
No
telling you
one's
right now.
offended.
I'm going to apologize for that.
The old guy was like, nobody's offended. Yeah, I don't think right now is the time to go down the road, first of all, Beck, Kimberly, of who can say the N-word. I don't know, something tells me that, read the fucking room, you pieces of shit. The fact that they're, the tone-deaf, cavalier attitude of these two, of not having the knowing that they are falling off into an area of the woods with yellow tape around it that says "Do not enter." Metaphorically, how can you? God dang it! Is that fucked up? I actually want to. I want to hear the whole
You
damn
can
thing
hear it.
again.
Fourth man also confirmed it. You know, she called him the N-word. That's when they really went after her.
Okay, let me ask.
Okay, so now if she doesn't stop down here and say, okay, now let me ask you, were they acting N-word-ish? So you know what she's trying to say. Even just that alone is, N-word is N-word, okay? If you say, yeah, so-and-so used the N-word, you can't get in trouble for that. You shouldn't be. But that's as bad as actually saying the word. And when you see radio people that have been in the business as long as these two, somehow all of the training and the know-how that they have, they know better. So what's causing you to suddenly forget that and suddenly start using that way? That's shocking to me when you see it just all go up in smoke. I've been fired many times from radio, but it wasn't for anything like that, racist shit or saying something truly horrible on the air. I mean, I know I have been fired. Well, in a way I have. You know, I was fired for making fun of a guy's pants. Holy shit. Get out. Get out, pants fun maker. Thou shalt not make fun of thy dungarees. We are tired of you putting us in jeopardy. We are tired. We are tired of you being over us with a dark cloud. When will you stop making fun of people's pants? Get out! We will carry on without you and your pants insults going forward. What?
Question.
Yeah.
Were they acting N-wordish? There's your question.
They were acting thuggerly, like,
Okay.
I think. They're
That's what I'm talking about, the use of the word thug. You know, you see, this is what it's all one big ball of white radio racism right there. And it's so, it's actually, it fills me with joy when I hear these pieces of garbage be exposed and then they're gone. We're listening to their careers end right here.
Acting N-wordly.
Yeah. And by the way,
You can't say that. What?
I love this guy, the incredulous guy. I hope they didn't fire this dude. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he's got enough sense to call him out on it. They better not have fired this guy.
Doing?
No, were they acting that way?
No, you can't say that.
hey, if that
said-
would have
Also,
been...
stop
I
saying
didn't
thugs.
say-
That's part of the problem. You
No,
can't.
it's not. They're thugs.
They beat her
They're
with a
thugs.
2x4.
If you look like a thug and if you act like a thug and you got 3-on-1 and beating up a
And-
white woman with a 2x4, by God, you're a thug.
And by the way, there are people in the black community would say they are acting N-wordly.
But they can say that. You can't say that.
It's double standard. I was going to say
It
if
doesn't
that had been...
And I don't appreciate the double standard.
Well, it doesn't. Who cares?
If she had been a black woman, the N-word wouldn't have been that big a deal. They'd have walked away. But a white woman calling
You don't.
3 black
You can't
guys
say
the
it.
N-word...
Can you believe that this discussion is taking place considering what is going on in the world, considering the fact that dead dude, his death, Floyd's death, has spurred on not a statewide protest, not a national protest, no, forget that, not a continental protest, a worldwide coming together of people saying this is horse shit. What is going on here? And these sons of bitches are doing this now. Oh my God.
Can't
We're
say
going
But
back.
they were acting that way.
But you don't understand the meaning of
No,
that.
well, we
I
understand.
I
No, you
understand
don't.
the meaning very
I'm
well.
telling you.
I understand the meaning very well.
I'm going to apologize to
What a
anybody offended by that
bitch.
right now. I'm just
No
telling you
one's
right now.
offended.
I'm going to apologize for that.
I'm disgusted. I am disgusted that happened in an industry that I was able to actually be in and work in for extended time. That's long since gone, as you know, but I am sickened at this. I am very, very happy that iHeart made this decision and fired them. There's also worth mentioning that there is a co-worker on Weeze's show named Deanna King on the same radio station, who, when she heard this shit go down, she called up the boss and said, I'm done working there until you fire them. And she did not mince words at all. I am done working there until you fire them. She called up Robert Morgan, who is the president of the upstate New York market for iHeartMedia, probably one of the excellence hubs, and said, fuck this. I am not working in this hellhole racist environment after these fucking cock-sucking white pieces of shit, garbage, dumpster fire, disaster of hatred and racism have spewed their hate on these airwaves. Eat shit and die. I am not working here, okay? So that was, I'm sure, had a lot to do with it. She said she refused to continue working for iHeartMedia as long as Kimberly and Beck were still employed. She did not appear on Wednesday morning show, but addressed it on Twitter. She said, I'm appalled at what was said on the Kimberly and Beck show. I have never and would never spew such racist hate. I've told management I won't work at a company that employs people like this. I'm raising my children to love everyone and stand up for what is right. I will too, she tweeted Wednesday. This is not the first controversy for these two. They were fired from another Rochester radio station in 2014 after making hateful comments about transgender people. Wow. What was that all about? Hateful comments. Full disclosure, I've made jokes, but I haven't been hateful, ever, in any way, shape, or form. Never, ever would I ever do that. You heard their true selves right there in those comments. Let's see. What do they do about the I don't even need to go down that road. Who gives a shit? 2014, they were assholes then. They got rehired. They were hired 4 months later by another radio station. They were also sued by a local veterinarian in 2014 for allegedly making false statements on air, and sued in 2015 by a man that they accused of being a drug dealer in a broadcast. Holy shit. Man, a lot of strikes against these two. Fuck. All this shit goes on with these guys. All I wanted to do was be a part-time board op at iHeart, and I got shown the door. What the fuck? Usual responses, usual backlash. I'll link all this stuff up so you can listen to it at your leisure. Oh my God. So much. I mean, there's just tweet after tweet, everybody hating them. It's really incredible when you see the destruction of people who don't have any idea of their whereabouts and reading the room. And I know I touched on it earlier, but for them not to have any idea of what they were doing and not in any way slow down that train, not having any moment where they went, whoa, wait a minute. You had to take the third voice in there. I don't know who that was. I wish I could know that person's name and applaud that person, who I sure hope that person didn't get fired. And them and these two fucks to not be able to go, wait, typically if it goes down that road, if you're in that room and somebody's getting in the weeds, somebody's doing the old throat slash gesture, like stop, cut it off, cut it, move on. I mean, I've done it many times. I've seen it many times. Like, cut. That's it. No more. Stop. These two pieces of shit had no idea what was going on. They didn't realize it when they were saying it. They didn't think it was bad. They thought they could get away with it. And considering what's going on in the world, I'm radio this moment. It's just shocking to me that they cannot have, and these are veteran people in the industry, to not know what they're doing and to keep digging that hole deeper. What a bunch of fucking morons. I hate them. I fucking hate these people. This is terrible. Shit, is this bad. I'm just glad they're gone. Career's over. Head to the podcast world. All right? That actually sickens me, too, that they could be spewing that shit. You know what, though? Honestly, if you ever spewed that shit on a podcast, you'd be deplatformed before you know it. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they don't like that shit. They will shut your ass down. I can say whatever the fuck I want on here. I can swear as much as I want, as long as I'm not full of hate and being like those two. If they said that on a podcast and didn't even use the N-word, they'd be shut down. It would be red flags. Somebody would turn them in. They'd be a review of it, and within a short notice, they would be shut down. I believe that. And I'm glad I would never, ever test that. This whole thing is sickening to me. Okay, that's that. I'll link it up at ericzaneshow.com. In the news section is where you can digest that more on your own if you like. But, man, I can... Before I go on, even if these two, come back and hat in hand and apologize, it would never be accepted because of how they sounded, the matter-of-fact tone of voice. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's how they feel. That's who they are, and they've been exposed. So they're done. They are fucking done. Yes, that makes me really, really happy. As always, you can reach out to me via email, eric@ericzaneshow.com. That is the Green Clean Technologies inbox. Thank you to Green Clean Technologies for sponsoring that good group over there. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about anything at all in this podcast, and you want to be heard while I'm doing the podcast, don't think it's too late to send the comment, okay? If we can interact real time, I'll just say, hey, going back 5 minutes ago, so-and-so says this. So I'm not going to see it if it's on Facebook while I do this live because I don't want the distraction. But one email that comes in, make your subject line descriptive, please. I will be able to park on that, and that will allow your voice to be heard to some degree, and then we can kind of engage that way. That's all I got. All right. We covered yesterday in the podcast a dude in West Michigan. They've had their share of protests. They've had their share of riots. Yesterday, there was a moment where the Grand Rapids chief of police, along with the county sheriff department, Kent County, Michigan, and the Stadies, they all took a knee and for 9 minutes said, "I can't breathe." I mean, that was heavy. And this is what the community wants leaders to do to get an idea of how intensely severe of a situation this is. And frankly, in an effort to build community, to build awareness, I can certainly understand if some people in the community would be like, well, they shouldn't have to do that. Well, yeah, but why not? What is it going to hurt? Nothing if you do it. And what is it going to help? A lot if you do. So I think it is appropriate. I think it is good. And if people who are civically approaching this in a way to try to make it better all the way around, why the hell not? So that is good. That is a very, very good thing that happened. And when it does happen, it makes me happy. It's a shame that the message has had to get through via the death of Floyd. I talked about this earlier. I do understand now, and I now get it much more than I ever did. I was very obstinate and headstrong against Kaepernick and refused through my own, I don't know, maybe it's my ego, maybe it's my upbringing, I have no idea, maybe it's the environment I live in. I refused to put myself into the shoes of Kaepernick or anyone who was sympathetic to him up until this point. For me, honestly, is when it changed, is when I saw LeBron James retweeting the meme of, I forget his name, and that's probably good. The murderer, the cop murderer. This, with the image of him on Floyd, and I'll remember the name in a second, ... is why. And then it showed Kaepernick. And I'm like, all right, Kaepernick may have misstepped along the way. He may have done dumb shit while trying to get his point across. But at the end of the day, man, I get it. I do get it. And I think that more and more people are understanding what the hell that was all about. And that will eventually lead me in this podcast to Drew Brees and his bit of butt fuckery. Fuck. How at this point can you not understand? I get where you were coming from, Brees, because like I just indicated, I felt that way too. And it's a shame that it took the death of a man to turn me, but I did. And I feel much more in tune with what Kaepernick is doing and the message he is trying to say now for the greater good of my fellow woman and man. That's it. But I just don't understand. Anyway, I got off on a tangent here because I was talking. That's how it's going to be today because I'm extremely wound up, incredibly wound up. Probably because I'm sick and tired of my wife throwing me in these weird pretzel holds that she puts in and telling me to shut up while she rides me like a stupid mini bike. My God, stop treating me like a sex toy. Stop it. Oh, ridiculous. Can somebody reach out to her and tell her to give me a break? I can't handle it anymore. This is horrible. Jesus. So anyway, I got onto this topic locally because of I was talking about the guy who got hit in the face. Remember the guy who we thought got hit in the face with the in the face in the police protest, white dude, which is, I know it sounds strange, but I think that might be part of the reason why he's not getting the response that he wants here. Shocking, but still, I mean, the response should be what it should be. He should be getting a little bit more attention, I feel, because the video showed dude walking up to the police while playing, apparently he found out he was playing the NWA song, Fuck the Police. And he was acting, they looked confrontational to me. He looked like he deserved it when he got maced, or whatever, what pepper sprayed. He pointed at one of the cops, and he looked like a white shit kicker dude from like Dorr or Borculo or Cedar Springs. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing there? That tells you that this is absolutely a thing that we that the world needs to pay attention to. If shit kicker guy from Borculo is showing up to protest the death of George Floyd, and the cop goes up, he pepper sprays him. He's like, oh man, you see him he's got pepper spray in his face, which is a bummer, and he takes a drag off his cigarette. Like, all right. He's probably got another 1 second before the burn is going to humiliate him. But he's a pretty tough dude, so he doesn't really flinch too much when he gets a face full of pepper spray. He turns around, and there's another cop in there, and he steps forward and buries a tear gas canister or a smoke canister right in his face. Oh, so we thought. Here's the latest about this hillbilly getting a canister to the face.
Shocking video from the weekend riots in downtown Grand Rapids. Tonight, we're one-on-one with the man at the center of this, a victim of what many are calling excessive force.
News 8's Jacqueline Francis spoke with him today, and she's live downtown with this story all new tonight.
Jacqueline Francis.
Brian and Sue, this video shows just one of the many intense moments that went down between protesters and police during the unrest over the weekend. And while police have yet to talk to us about their tactics used tonight, the protester is telling his side of the story. It's the viral video that ends with a bang and has since launched an internal police investigation. The man at the center of it all is 36-year-old Sean Hart.
What was your reaction when you got hit with that? What did you think it was at first?
I really wasn't for sure what it was. All I know is it made me even more mad.
The video taken during Saturday night's riot in Grand Rapids shows Hart walking towards a line of police officers.
Didn't even hurt me, made me more mad. He's like the Hulk. This is what happens when you get Borculo dude at a protest. You can't stop Borculo guy.
And suddenly an officer sprays Hart with mace before firing a canister at him nearly point blank. Hart says this is how it happened.
Started to say, what do you think gives you the right? And that's when I got sprayed.
Then what'd you do?
I turned on an angle, hit my cigarette. I was thinking about doing something that probably would have ended bad. And then I just turned around, and that's when I got shot with that flashbang.
I took a drag out my cigarette. I said, beef, it's what's for dinner. And all of a sudden, I got hit.
Cut there.
Sounds like Trace Atkins.
Hart was barely hurt by the blast. The canister hit him in the shoulder, causing some bruising.
You heard it. Jacqueline Francis said that canister hit him in the shoulder.
But no broken bones. But to Hart, it should have never gotten to this point.
Pepper spray, okay. The canister, that close, There was no call for it. I was by myself.
And he stopped way before the line of police. Like, he stopped way before.
I looked at the cop and I said, all right, son, go get yourself a switch. I'm going to give you a whooping right here in the street here.
They were, and then they came up to him.
Hart admits he had slightly provoked the officers by playing a song that's known to be offensive to police. But to him, that's no reason to use such force. Yesterday,
You can't treat me like one of the gays. Don't you hit me with anything.
his fiancée went to the Grand Rapids Police Department to file a complaint, only to find out from the chief that an internal investigation into the incident was already underway.
But, I mean, I don't see what good it's going to do because it's Grand Rapids, investigating Grand Rapids.
Was the chief apologetic?
Not really.
He didn't know. He didn't say
much.
sorry or anything.
He just said, I seen the video.
But he did say that he's seen the video and that he did start an investigation.
He didn't even give me a fresh pack of smokes.
Again, police have yet to speak to us about the incident as we're still waiting for the outcome of the internal.
I'm just glad this hillbilly's not black because the city would have burnt down if that was the case.
Investigation. We did talk to a former police officer who now teaches de-escalation tactics, and he tells us that the situation should have never gotten to that point.
No.
Reporting live in downtown Grand Rapids, Jacqueline Francis, News 8.
All right. Holy shit. Oh my God! You know, I don't think that anybody should ever take a pepper spray to the canister. That should have never been fired. That cop should be in trouble. Who did that? This all goes back to considering what's going on right now. The idea that he would just launch that, there has to be more accountability for that type of behavior by that cop. The one guy had it taken care of. Okay, and with the dude there now, I mean, I think they needed to give it a little bit more time to see how the pepper spray affected this hillbilly. And, probably hillbilly would have gone back without you having to fire that canister. But now you got yourself in a shit more amount of trouble. And if you're the cop who did that, when you start to think about the fact that everybody's watching you, all right, and he should have immediately been removed from the street. And then dealt with in that way. Yeah, I mean, the cop, you got a family to take care of, no doubt. Probably. Maybe think of them before you act like an asshole to this guy who, yeah, he was acting like an asshole too, but it looked like it was well taken care of. I don't think that there was any place to fight. And besides, the canister is used not to, like, knock somebody back. Isn't that used to dispense, the canister so that the tear gas or the smoke will thin the crowd? The whole thing's screwed up. That guy's in trouble. And if you're the chief of police in Grand Rapids, he needs to be a little bit more respectful and to that guy, to the hillbilly who showed up, and understand and be, a little bit, hey, I understand where you're coming from. We are looking into it, and I can't really comment on it right now, but we are going to get back to you, and we are going to take care of this. My first thoughts might be this, anything to settle the guy down. But if you just blow him off like he says you did, well, that's a problem. Considering the fact that you were just on your knee saying with the protesters, and all those protesters, they don't want just black people to be taken care of. They want anybody who is working with the cops, or if they get in trouble with the cops, to be treated appropriately. That's what this is all about. And tear gas, or what do you call it, pepper spray, yeah, that's one thing, okay? That guy was out of line. Canister to the face, or could have been the face, entirely different. All right. More coming up, including Drew Brees pouring a 55-gallon drum of gasoline. I said 5-gallon before, and I meant to say 55. On the whole thing. Say it ain't so, Drew. And a terrible new challenge on social media that is just making me sick. I mean, it actually hurt to read the story. All right. Yesterday, I was supposed to, I'm really having a hard time lately. I keep blowing by interviews and things that I have scheduled, and people are like, hey, are we supposed to do a Zoom? Oh, God, I'm sorry, I forgot. I've been just ridiculously screwing things up lately, and one of the things I screwed up was the Instagram instant interview yesterday that was supposed to happen yesterday. Not Instagram instant interview, Instagram instant trivia challenge. at 7 p.m. on Instagram every Wednesday night. I've been telling you about it, and then the guy who's telling you about it screws it all up. I'm going to do it tonight. On Instagram, search Eric Zane Show. I've got 2 sponsors that are supporting it. Baldwin Ace Hardware and Little Debbie, distributed by MB Distributing Incorporated, okay? They have given me cash to give to you. It's their money that they're giving to you. I go on Instagram Live. I see you populating it at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Instagram, Wednesday nights, normally. It'll be tonight. And then I invite you to the Instagram Live. We're face-to-face, and all the people who are populating it, they see us. And I say, welcome, so-and-so. Here's your trivia question. All right? And then I ask you a trivia question. Could be about anything. I take it right from Trivial Pursuit. At least right now I do. You got 5 seconds to get it right. You get it right, you win the cash. $10 from Baldwin Ace Hardware and Little Debbie, distributed by MB Distributing Incorporated. That's it. I've got 2 $10 cash prizes. I'll Venmo you the money, PayPal you the money right there. It's good to go. Done. That's the fun starts at 7 p.m. every Wednesday. I am doing it tonight, which is Thursday, because I'm an idiot and I forgot yesterday. I was probably being chased around the house by the temptress. My God. 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Patriot Nick in Maine says, hey, can Mario Flores get me the mortgage I need? And I go, well, yeah, he can, of course. It's not like it's like only in Michigan. Yes. The Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. If you are listening to this show and you're like, man, what the fuck am I paying rent for? Can I get a mortgage? If you're paying rent, you can get a mortgage. You might be like, well, I've been paying rent for like a year. Well, have you been on time? Yeah. Can you prove it? Yeah. But good. That's it. All right. Some folks might be dealing with bankruptcy. You might be dealing with divorce. You might be like, there's no way I can do this. You might be right. Mario Flores, let him determine that. You might be wrong. He's going to get you into a loan. If you are right, he's going to say, yeah, you're in a world of hurt right now, but I know what you can do to get you turned around. I can help you with that. That's what he really shines in, that customer-oriented approach to help you navigate that boulder-filled river that is you emerging from the not-so-great scenario that you're in right now. He's doing it for my son. My son, single income, lives in a trailer park, upside down on the trailer. He owns the trailer. He's like, how do I get out of this, Dad? I go, I don't know, but Mario does, so call him. Voila! Here we are. He's been approved. This is really great news. I'm so happy about this. 231. Jim's like 25, and he didn't have two nickels to rub together, but he's been paying his rent on time. There you go. He's so excited. 231-332-6505 for if you're in that scenario, or if you are a well-established with a great credit score, it's going to make his work so much easier. A lot of people, they don't like to work with those people like I just described because it is a lot of work. And there is a stigma that mortgage professionals like Mario who work with people like that, my son or maybe somebody that's not in the best scenario, are bottom feeders. And that is offensive and the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard. They can do anything that any other guy who will only cater to rich people. But he's going to go the extra mile for the guy who's low end of the totem pole, who's just starting out, who might have had bad things happen to him. Thank you, Mario, for that. Give him a call at 231-332-6505. You are the best. Today at 1:30, retired Army Major Steve Prince has another CPL class beginning. Keep an eye on his Facebook page for the one after this so you can sign up. Get your pistol license, man. If you're in the great state of Michigan, you should be walking around with a pistol on your hip. I don't care who you are. Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. Carry a pistol, dummy. 616-204-1705. Concealed. He's going to teach you everything you need to know. You don't even need to own a gun to be able to take this class, by the way. You just borrow one of his. Ay, Senor Martinez. I had no idea you were related to her. A&E Heating and Cooling at 616-516-8579. AEHeatingCooling.net. Reach out to Joe. He's going to tune up your air conditioner. You do need it tuned up. You might have already turned it on for the year, but still, get that thing tuned. There's a lot to it. It's, you know those metal fins that you see that they say, don't touch those. Don't screw with those things. Leave them alone. Yours, since you haven't hired Joe, are coated with dust and, like when the dandelions turn to the white thing and they fly through the air. What are those called? And various pollens and shit when the trees bud. All that, when the air conditioner turns on, it starts sucking all the air in and all that stuff hits those fins, and then it starts to accumulate to this big, like, smeg. It looks like a porn star's bush in a 1973 porno. It's like a big, thick bath rug of garbage on it. Senor Martinez sprays this chemical jizz on it, and then he washes it all down. That's part of the cleaning process. That's part of the tune-up. Now, for you gringos, you're going to get it for $89, but you mentioned my show. Senor Martinez is going to drop it on you for $79. All right? If you're getting a new install, whether it be an air conditioner or a furnace, you need to know that he's teamed up with the greatest air conditioning and furnace company in the world, the Comfort Maker, air conditioning and heating. Comfort with confidence. They're the best. They're very selective on the installers and the contractors who they team up with. That's why they went with Joe. All right, I don't want to hear about any other air conditioning and heating company. Joe dealing with the Comfort Maker, installing their great products, the Comfort Maker air conditioning and heating. That's what you need. 616-516-8579. Why the hell was Drew Brees dropping this bit of horseshit with Yahoo Finance? Hey, Joe, ESPN, or Drew, ESPN wants to interview you. No. I'm going to be with Yahoo Finance. All right. Well, they talked a little bit about, they were talking about racism. And Breeze went with the old tired thing on Colin Kaepernick with taking a knee. I used to feel this way, that anybody who is taking a knee is saying fuck you to America. I have abandoned that thought process. Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee to put attention on him to indicate he's not happy with the way police treat some people, particularly minorities. That was the point. For the longest time, I believed he just doesn't like America. He's disrespecting the flag. As I indicated earlier in the podcast, how I feel now is detailed there. So I don't need to go down that road again. Breeze still feels like the way I used to. Now, if you could draw a diagram of it, of Kaepernick and what he actually feels, he loves the United States, but he feels that taking a knee was the only way to draw attention to what he's trying to tell you and me. The message fell on receptive ears and some deaf ears. The deaf ears felt the way I felt and the way Breeze feels. I've since changed my tune. I understand what he's doing. I understand what anybody in those shoes is trying to convey, and that's it. That's how I feel. What it's not about, it isn't about this guy, Kaepernick. Here he is on this imaginary plane that I have here taking a knee. It doesn't go along the path of I hate the United States, down with America, all that other nonsense. It's just not. It has nothing to do with that. And anybody who's followed this story and looks at it and pays attention to what has happened to George Floyd and what is happening in the world right now, in my opinion, is batshit crazy to feel the way Breeze feels. And you're another level of insane if you then say it to anybody out loud. A bad idea. Breeze did that. This is Breeze talking to Yahoo Finance. Give me a second.
Everyone is looking back now at Kaepernick's protests from a few years ago, and obviously they were always about police brutality, and now it's coming back to the fore, and a lot of people expect that we will see players kneeling again if and when the NFL season starts. I'm curious how you think the NFL will and should respond to that, and of course, you're such a leader in the league. What is your responsibility as a leader?
Let me just answer it for him first. If I'm Roger Goodell and I'm asked that question, how should the league respond? I don't think this is hard. I don't think you can look bad saying, I've thought about this a long time, and this is how I feel now. I don't feel bad that I am saying it the way I'm saying it. It's okay. It's only pride, a man's pride, that keeps him when in his head alarms are going off. This is what you should be saying. You should be voicing this now. Only pride keeps a man or a woman from changing their point of view. That's the only thing. Stubborn pride. Afraid of looking bad or showing weakness because they've changed their attitude. To me, that is a show of strength. If you can take the information as it's presented to you, even though it is heinous as it is, the information about the death of Floyd, and if you do not have the ability to go, son of a bitch, this is terrible, and I get what he's saying, and it's okay to do that. I don't know why a person, a woman or a man, cannot just look at it and say, this is how I now feel. I have changed my mind going forward, and this is what I'm going to say. That is a virtue. And anybody who their stubbornness keeps them from admitting that is a massive mistake, in my opinion. The league should say what I just said. They should watch this podcast, and they should say, and if you want to take a knee, go ahead. Take a damn knee, because it has nothing to do going forward about the hatred of the country or not supporting our military. It has nothing to do with that. It has only to do with pointing out the inequities, the injustices, all the shit that we've been talking about for the past however long.
In times like this, for the rest of your teammates and players in the league?
Well, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country.
Doesn't get it.
Let me just tell you
he's a fucking fool.
Or what I feel when the national anthem is played and when I look at the flag of the United States.
It's not getting through.
I envision my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine Corps.
So he's implying that anybody who takes a knee doesn't look back on the respect that they would have normally for a person who has fought in the military. And that's insane, because all these guys that took knees, they've got a similar scenario just like Breeze. Breeze acts like, oh, yeah, I'm the only one that has relatives that have fought in World Wars, so that's what I look to. Well, they did too. And that isn't making them. They love and respect their family members who did the same damn thing.
Both risking their lives to protect our country and to try to make our country and this world a better place. So every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at that flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. And in many cases, it brings me to tears, thinking about all that has been sacrificed, not just those in the military, but for that matter, those throughout the civil rights movements of the 60s.
Well, think about what Kaepernick sacrificed, his damn career. He took a knee because dudes were getting killed, and he didn't like it, and he wanted to address it. So he did it in this very simple way, and now he can't play football anymore.
And everyone and all that has been endured by so many people up until this point. And is everything right with our country right now? No, it's not. We still have a long way to go. But I think what you do by standing there and showing respect to the flag with your hand over your heart is it shows unity.
This is bullshit, because think about it now. If and I get this now, I understand. You're like, wait a minute, Zane, you're completely changed your tune. You're damn right I have. They all believe that too. But they're also not happy. I mean, you as a white rich guy will never, ever have to deal with any of the things that have been being talked about for extended time that just now, after the death of Floyd, is getting through to the world, finally. You will never have to experience that, okay? He was representing those who have in a very profound way. And most of us, or about half of us, missed it. We missed the message because we were too offended by the fact that a black guy was taking a knee. We were too enraged by that. Oh, how the fuck can he do that? Oh, the shame on him. He hates America. Get the fuck out. Let's blackball his ass. That's what happened. So I don't want to hear any of your bullshit. You can't walk in any of their shoes. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just blathering on with what sounds like political talking points and shit that you hear at a fucking Klan rally, for God's sake.
It shows that we are all in this together. We can all do better, and that we are all part of the solution.
How much better do you want them to do? The guy died, and they're trying to draw the awareness by taking a knee, and you're dismissing it in a shameful way. That's it. Damn it! I can't believe Drew Brees did that shit. My God, this is remarkable to me that this has turned. Man, I considering where we were, it just is shocking to me that this is starting to actually. Kaepernick's got to be playing football this year. He has to be. All right, and I don't know if he still will or if he still is even interested at this point. But everything's different now. As always, you can reach out to me, Eric at ericzaneshow.com, if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, or want to argue with me about any of this. I would love that, because you can in real time confer with me on the Green Clean Technologies inbox, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. The story is not over, though, because, all right, I could have swore I had more on this. This is the first time in this show that I've circled the drain. I'm usually pretty prepared. Today, I'm not. All right. It's a who's who of athletes who are coming out against Brees. No one is appreciative of what he said. He is twisting in the wind, and he may die alone on that hill. LeBron James been pretty outspoken. He wrote, "Wow, man, is it still surprising at this point? Sure isn't. You literally still don't understand why Kaepernick was kneeling on one knee. Has absolutely nothing to do with the disrespect of the flag and our soldiers, men and women who keep our land free. My father-in-law was one of those," and then he posted a picture. There's more on this. I actually had, it seems like everybody has gone overboard talking about how this is the wrong thing to do, even as teammates. Many are saying, how can you possibly feel this way after all of this? Man, remarkable. So, Brees will have to pick up the pieces. I think he actually followed up with another statement. I don't have it in front of me right now, trying to backpedal a little bit, but I don't know. At this point in time, after you very emphatically and take your time explaining how you feel, even though it is the wrong opinion, I don't. You saying anything so quickly after what you just said is going to seem like you're backpedaling, wishy-washy. You haven't really put a lot of thought into it. It makes it seem like you're just saying it because everybody in the league is now kicking your ass. If I'm him, okay, I just retire, because he's alone in this. There's nobody that's going to come out and say that. There's a lot of people that have changed their viewpoint on this. And the second he's in the shotgun and he says hike and the center snaps the ball, wouldn't it be something if his entire offensive line takes a knee and then the entire defensive front, linebackers, safety, cornerbacks just knock the shit out of him, and then he's dead right on the field. I mean, that would be incredible. If I'm him, I don't want to take that chance. He's like 75 years old to begin with. He can't take that big of a pounding. He's a little fella. I don't know how the hell he's in the league in the first place. But I don't want to be rolling the dice on the NFL season if you're Drew Brees at this point after what you just did. Oh my God. In a brutal contact sport, you're at this point of the game taking that stance. What a dumb shit. All right. The amount of idiocy on this podcast is through the roof. Okay, it does bother me to some degree that we have so much to talk about in terms of this whole thing. But you kind of, I say this again, you kind of got to go where the river takes you. And when you're in a spot like this, like I am podcast-wise, admittedly, sometimes stories do dominate a day. The two that come to mind are this and pandemic. But I try to keep it as I try to keep the dialogue moving as best I can. Do what you can. Play the hand that you're dealt. This next story is, all of these stories bother me. But this one actually made my heart hurt. And I'm actually at a loss. I mean, a guy who constantly is never at a loss for words, being at a loss when you see something it's just remarkable. I saw it yesterday and I gasped. The internet, social media, George Floyd challenge. People, in this case, all white dudes, are taking pictures of themselves. One dude will lay on his belly with his head down and his hands behind his back like they're cuffed. Dude number 2 puts his knee onto the neck of dude number 1. You take a picture of it, and then you post it online. This is going to work out terribly for these people. I mean, they're all young, but talk about something that in this day and age, with what's going on in the world, you did something as stupid as this. You're looking at potential for the world to shut you down from beginning to end. I mean, let me explain it this way. If I did something that was really off the rails here, the big bad internet machine is very powerful. And your own actions have repercussions more than anything like radio people getting fired. There are so many terrible things that could happen to you in terms of the next step after you do something as horrible as this, like, friends, community, job, shunning from, who in their right mind is ever going to want anything to do with anyone who does the George Floyd challenge and what it can do for you for the rest of your life? Photos circulating on social media showing men and teenagers kneeling on the necks of their friends, captioning it the George Floyd challenge, drawing strong condemnation everywhere. Unnamed white males, some who appear to be teenagers. I'm telling you, man, everybody is a detective on the internet. Even the most modest of background on how to do this can get you names, addresses, phone numbers, pictures of where you live. You could be in great peril from this. Some of the articles I see blurs their faces, others don't. It's just fairly simple. Even with the pedestrian knowledge of this on facial recognition, can get you to a narrower field of potential participants. And, oh, my God, the investigative work of someone who is pissed off sometimes knows no ends. So good luck with that. It's leading many people to condemn the challenge. This person wrote, as if what's going on isn't sad enough, people are really making this a form of humor and entertainment. If anyone knows these people, I highly recommend blurting out, because George Floyd challenge is absolutely disgusting. Some of the users are actively seeking out photos from people doing the challenge. And one guy did it. Wow, this person, I think this person did it under their Twitter handle. Are you brave enough to do the George Floyd challenge? Post your pics. And they did it. And not. Another Twitter user said, there is no George Floyd challenge. He's dead. This makes me sick and sad. These kids will grow up and be even worse. It's not funny. It's not a joke or a trendy thing to do. Baby racists grow up to be big ones. I don't get it. I'm at a loss. Facebook user Ann Green said the following in a public post that's been shared more than 62,000 times at the time of its publication. So I learned from my cousin that this is not just some misguided kids. This is a community of people who are making a mockery of George Floyd's murder. Let's help make them famous since they are seeking attention. It will not be long before they are identified and exposed. Yeah, good luck with that. I'm looking at this. These two dudes. They're on a job. They are not teenagers. These two are adults. Man, this makes me actually a little bit nauseous. Laura Ingraham, who is a extreme right-wing, I don't know what the fuck she is, talk show host. I have no idea. She's been talking about reports of, like, remember when Trump got done with that speech and said, I'm going to use the military? And he then, Lafayette Square got cleared out, and he walked across to the church in that photo op thing. There's been a lot of people that are like, wait a minute, they didn't actually use tear gas. And they use these type of flash grenades that have some degree of smoke to them. It's like, I don't give a shit what they used. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they kindly asked them to leave. Doesn't matter. Well, she's been beating up that narrative about, see, it's all fake. They didn't clear them out with tear gas. I'm like, nobody gives a shit what they used. The fact that they got cleared out is what the point of it all was. She was talking about that. She wrote, because someone said incredible tear gas and rubber bullets, horses and batons break up peaceful crowd. She wrote false. Where's the Twitter fact check? No tear gas. Horses are used for safe crowd control. And this person tweeted at her, guys doing the George Floyd challenge. And she wrote, be proud, Laura. This is what you and right-wing media has wrought. It's called the George Floyd challenge. Aren't you a proud mama? Fuck. She better not comment on that. How do these people stay working? Honestly. Just realized I had a great piece of audio that I wanted to share with you. And I'm sad that I don't have it ready. And you know what? In an effort to keep the momentum going, there's nothing worse in this type of podcast for me to search for, but I'll save it for the Patreon. It's quite interesting. You got a guy in a small community in Florida where it's full of shit kickers. And the sheriff is talking to the public, talking to people who might be looting, because the rumor was that the looters, who I hate, were going to go to neighborhoods and do, like, home invasions or breaking and entering. And he had a message for them, an advisory cautionary tale to tell about what is likely going to happen, and he encouraged the homeowners to do, because this community, like I said, is full of shit kickers who everybody's got a gun. Wait until you hear on the Patreon what this guy said, and I really love it. It's just fantastic because you know me and guns and defending yourself. I'm all about it. This guy was just spectacular. So that's what's going on with this ridiculous George Floyd challenge. I cannot believe that is the thing. We have still yet to talk about the new charges on the cops, the former cops, and a new law potentially in the state of Michigan that I need to talk about, which I need. I think Whitmer is on the right track with this. And, I'll be the first one whenever anybody makes some sense, whether they're a Republican or Democrat. If somebody makes sense, I don't give a shit what your political party is. I take the information as it's presented to me, and I'm going to give you a straightforward opinion about it based on common sense. Okay? Common sense is the key. If something makes sense to me, I do not give a shit party affiliation. I'm going only on the sense that it makes in my brain. That in a bit. All right, thanks again to Riverbend Body Shop, 616-453-7799. Text them at 616-319-4830. They've got social distancing in place. If you're in West Michigan and you crack up your car, it's as simple as just showing up there. They got the masks. They've got the whole thing. You don't need to be standing next to him anyway. You don't want to. Zach DeGroot's pants are way too tight. You never know when he's going to just flip out on you. He's going to go around your car, take some pictures of it, and then next thing you know, you got an estimate. And it's so affordably priced. They work with all insurance companies. You need a loaner car, they'll take care of that for you. Riverbend Body Shop, 613-453-7795. RiverbendBodyShop.com. I got a guy who manufactures, I shouldn't say manufacturers, I got a guy who repairs your guns and customizes your guns. Benjamin and Kyle Newton, the power couple behind BK Guns and Stuff. All right? Servicing clients all around the world with customization, repair, cleaning your weaponry, building it, rebuilding it. Whatever you need a gunsmith to help you. I've got a .22 rifle in the backseat of my car, taken apart because I tried to repair it. Yes, and I'm going to give you what's left of the gun and the parts that and have you fix it. And there's a bullet jammed in there. It's a shit show, Benjamin. You won't believe it. 616-902-2447. Online, you go to my website, ericzaneshow.com. Click on their logo, BK Guns and Stuff. It'll take you right to their page. Or just search them on Facebook, BK Guns and Stuff. And yes, Green Clean Technologies, making sure that the critical environments inside of the nerve center of any business is clean. Could be a school. My God, could be a giant hospital. Could be a radio station. No, they don't have the money for that. Banks, these institutions have very sensitive equipment full of data centers that are compiling data, and they cannot be loaded with dust. Those environments have to be clean. They do that. I'm sorry, I almost said BK Guns and Stuff. I kind of did. Green Clean Technologies at 989-560-7272. GreenCleanTechnologies.com. Reach out to them. You get more information at their website. It's a landing page to get a quote as to how much this is going to set you and the company back. Green Clean Technologies, 989-560-7272. All right, new charges against these pieces of shit. My God, the fact that Chauvin, first of all, it was a third-degree charge against Derek Chauvin, third-degree murder. There's only 3 states in the union that have third-degree murder charges. This is a little bit different. They got a new prosecutor. I don't know if it was I don't know the dynamic of how it went, but they had the first prosecutor. And nobody was really satisfied with the third-degree murder charge, which at the most would have gotten Chauvin 25 years locked away. The second-degree murder charge has to show intent. And there's a lot of fine print as to how this would work. But this prosecutor who issued the charges and did, in fact, charge the other 3 says, yeah, I think we can get that. The announcement came more than a week after the whole incident came about. Initial charge, third-degree murder, out the window. Second-degree murder charge says that Chauvin killed Floyd without intent in the course of committing assault in the third degree. So what they're saying here is if you commit third-degree assault and the victim dies because of it, that gives you the right to charge the person with second-degree murder because you're intending on assaulting the guy. That's the intent, the fact that you're doing it. And if that leads to a death, they feel they can get the second-degree murder charge. Now, what does concern me is if the first prosecutor doesn't see it that way and is concerned about not getting a conviction, maybe he went ahead and said, I'm concerned about us biting off more than we can chew and not being able to prove that intent, and then he gets away scot-free, found not guilty. And if he's found not guilty, think about the pressure that's on that prosecutor, because if he is found not guilty on the second-degree charge, what happens to your community? What happens to the world? So there's immense pressure on that first prosecutor who went with the route of the third-degree murder charge, probably hoping to get a conviction. Well, that didn't set well with a lot of people. So they've been clamoring for an upped charge. Well, when you up the charge, you add a little bit more ante into the pot, and now that makes it a little bit more work to try to get a conviction. And frankly, if you are the lawyer representing Chauvin and your job is to defend him, and the lawyer who is defending Chauvin has had a history of successfully defending cops in the past in similar incidents. He knows what the hell he's doing. By the way, if the sound drops out, it's because my wife starts her car and the Bluetooth picks it up. Sorry. So now what? You could be faced with the possibility that if you go for the bigger fish in the charge, that he ends up getting away with it. And I do not want to be that guy. So I'm a little concerned about the charge, them it being more than they can actually convict him on. The other three who helped restrain Floyd, I don't know how to say it. It's an Asian dude. I think it's Tao Teo. Were not initially charged. But now Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Kueng, K-U-E-N-G. I don't think it's Kuhn. That would be terrible. Whatever. Those guys are now charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. They were taken into custody yesterday. They're being held on $1 million bail. The one guy's attorney that I said his name funny said in a statement that his client was asked to turn himself in to face charges. He was in custody 15 minutes later. Second-degree murder and aiding and abetting second-degree murder are punishable by up to 40 years in prison. Manslaughter and aiding and abetting manslaughter are punishable by up to 10 years in prison. One of the things that they said that Chauvin should get the second-degree charge by was there was a moment where one of the cops, one of the three, said to Chauvin, should we let him out or roll him on his back? He has no pulse. This is key. And Chauvin said, I'm staying right here, or he's staying right here. So that shows intent. The attorney, this famous civil rights attorney, Crump is his name, he said that shows intent right there. And I don't know how it doesn't. I mean, I am a pedestrian eye on anything in terms of legality and the law. Benjamin Crump is the attorney. And he said because they said he knew that the guy didn't have a pulse yet, and you could hear it on the tape. The one cop said, "Hey, he doesn't have a pulse." I don't know about you, but if I'm just shocked that the other three said, "Well, he's like dead right now, so we got to do something." How did you not? And how did Chauvin? In my mind, these four. That's all I need to hear. And I hope to God that that all four get the magnitude of all these charges pushed, and then a conviction on everything, so that they spend as long as possible behind bars, so that the system knows that if you do this, there is accountability. And there's accountability for the law enforcement that do nothing. There's silence. In fact, I saw a video of one of the people, the bystanders, try to go get the cop off of him, and another cop stopped him. That guy should be, maybe he should be charged too, because clearly somebody was trying to get the cop off of the guy, and he wouldn't do it. And it's just remarkable that nobody had enough sense to do this. Finally, locally, here in Michigan, here's what's going on. I want you to understand. I know a lot of you people who are fucking morons. When you hear Whitmer has an opinion and is planning on doing something to try to make this so it doesn't happen in Michigan, your first inclination is to go, whore, hate her, she's Adolf Hitler, and you say stupid shit like that. You're an asshole, okay? And you shouldn't be listening to this. Fuck off. Because this makes perfect sense here. And you piss me off when you do that. If you would shut up for a minute and hear me out as to what she's doing here, it might make some sense to you. So put aside the whole quarantine shit for a second and listen to what I'm about to tell you. How does this not make sense? Excuse me. Hang on. I got a cough. Oh, God. By the way, thank you to everybody who watched a podcast yesterday. I had a big pop of people who were watching the pod. Sorry, I just got distracted. Who were massively watching the podcast. And I don't know what I did differently, but you know me and my never-ending quest to get internet points. I'm happy with a couple thousand people watching the Facebook Live or whatever of the platforms that I'm showing this on. And shit, by the time I got done, there was 7,000. I think I finished up upwards of 11,000 people watching that podcast yesterday on my live stream. Thank you. I don't know what the hell I did, but I appreciate it. If you would share the show on Facebook, that is always a key thing to help further the growth of it. Always do anything you can to share it. That's all I got is you. By the way, no, I can't even talk about it. I'll be putting the cart before the horse. Cannot talk about that yet. All right, so the governor Wednesday called for policy changes to prevent police abuses following the killings of Floyd and other black people, backing continuing education for officers in Michigan, and legislation that would require training on implicit bias and de-escalation techniques. In a statement, Whitmer said that the police slayings of Floyd in Minnesota, and also there's a couple other incidents she references that are not like the Floyd incident, and that's where I deviate. There was a botched raid of a suspected felon, turned out to be the wrong house, and Breonna Taylor was killed. That was just a fucking bungled job, okay? So that's a little bit strange to throw that into there. The killing of Floyd was a murder. She also references the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, also a murder because of stupid hillbilly vigilantes. They thought they were doing the right thing. That was also a murder. They should be tried and convicted of murder. But these are three very different things. So I want to be careful to not read the article with what her words, and so that you will assume that I feel the same way she does about those. To me, everything is Floyd. She said the usual language that goes through a big moment like this. These moments were a result of hundreds of years of inequity and institutional racism against black Americans. She urged police departments to toughen their training and policies. This is key. This is the one thing that has to change. Now, do I think that if a cop is walking down the street and he hears we have a robbery that is in progress, we've got a black male with red pants, I don't know, and a white shirt and a baseball hat who was seen waving a gun and running away with a bag of loot with a dollar sign on it, and then the cop sees a guy with red pants, white shirt, a hat on, and walking down the street, that is just cause to stop and say, freeze, get your hands out of your pocket. And if the kid says, fuck no, fuck you, I'm not getting my hands out of your pocket, you've got a problem there. That's one thing. I'm not saying those things won't ever happen, and doing normal police work, they should happen, because the cop doesn't have any information other than what he's been told. This is very tricky, and I don't really have a great answer. But you got to start somewhere, and something needs to be done. This isn't necessarily about that, but this is about training, I think, for other personnel when you're in a scenario like George Floyd, when asshole has his knee on Floyd's neck and other 3 cops aren't shoving him off him. Fucking push him off him. Do what you fucking have to do to stop killing him. What kept these 3 other fucking morons from doing that? I don't know. That's where this has to change. Something needs to be done, and that is what she's talking about here. So I want you to pay special attention to this. And again, for you people that are Democrat, Republican, suspend all of that right now and just listen to what I'm telling you. She urged police departments to toughen their training and policies. And she said she will partner with the legislature and law enforcement to enact police-related changes into law. She did not immediately push for changes on the use of force. However, that is smart. You cannot, pardon the pun, handcuff the cops dealing with the public and public safety. There are a lot of terrible things that cops have to do to keep the public safe. We've talked about that many, many times. That is wise of her to not be reactionary and say, oh, no, from now on, cops cannot do this. I am enacting a executive order. That's a smart bit of work on her part. You cannot do that. So I give her credit for that. I'm not afraid to give people credit when they deserve it, even if I do not agree with them politically. You know that about me. Again, I say the common sense thing, and I'm going to stand by it now. I've changed my opinion on things. I've used it with you. I've talked about it with you. I've talked with you on email about it. She continues with, we recognize the shortcomings of the systems in place today. Systems have left minorities feeling underserved, often threatened by law enforcement. And this was said by actually the Lieutenant Governor, Gilchrist. Even before the Democratic governor's announcement, a Republican-led Senate committee planned to hold a hearing on a Democratic-sponsored bill that would, starting in 2022, that's kind of a long ways off, requires cops to complete training on implicit bias, de-escalation techniques, and mental health screening. I understand it takes a long time to get these things passed, but that's kind of a long ways off. You might want to fast track that. Some Michigan police departments already mandate this training. This is not anything new. But a senator from Ann Arbor, Jeff Irwin, said it should be universal. And I mean, hard to disagree with that. I mean, the panel and full Senate plan to quickly pass the measure today, just a week after its introduction. House Democrats on Wednesday unsuccessfully tried amending coronavirus spending bill to prohibit officers that recognize hazard pay from using. Okay, wait a minute. House Democrats on Wednesday unsuccessfully tried amending a coronavirus spending bill that would prohibit officers that receive hazard pay from using knee holds and choke holds as restraint practices. All right. Floyd died after that happened, of course. I don't have a problem with them putting the knee hold not in there. I mean, obviously, most people who are in law enforcement say it's a shitty way to do business. Let's see. Hold on a second. There's one more. Whitmer requested that the Michigan Commission of Law Enforcement Standards give guidance to law enforcement agencies on continuing education. Part of this training was going to require that, and it should be mandated, that cops, when faced with a scenario like we saw in Minnesota, have to intervene when something like this happens again. We can only wonder what the other 3 cops were thinking when dude was killing Floyd. And they're going to pay the price for that. It should be made a law, and this is what she's pushing, that a cop must intervene. And that is huge. And so, fuck, I can't argue with any of that. I think that this is all good. And for her to go out and do it is terrific. I think that that's absolutely appropriate going forward. Anybody who disagrees with that is a fucking moron. This better happen fast so that this doesn't happen again. Because I'll tell you right now, with the way it is with society, with the protests, with people being pissed off, and how it has taken over the world, it has pushed aside a pandemic and said, no, this is what we're talking about now. If we don't fix this, if lawmakers, if police don't fix this, shit's going to make this look like a fucking birthday party. And God forbid if these cops are not convicted, and God forbid if it happens again. This is it. It cannot happen again. All right, I got a couple more sponsors I want to say hello to. They are Shoreliners Striping. I love this. They stripe the parking lots. They're awesome. All right, you need somebody to do that job. And I really want to do this for Do Your Job Friday with AHL referee Tim Mayer and his band of referee employees. They do so much. They can stripe the parking lots. They put the arrows on the ground. Communities can hire them to do their contracted work for right turn. Mayor will probably misspell the word stop a few times. They can do additional works like stripe your workplace, stencils, curb work. They paint it all at Shoreliners. ShorelinersStriping.com. 616-536-1985. And they will travel. It isn't just West Michigan. It's the surrounding areas, too. If you need a quote, call them 616-536-1985 for Shoreliners Striping. ShorelinersStriping.com. Last but certainly not least. Oh, and by the way, Shoreliners also does athletic field painting. That is a thing. That's new for 2020. As people get back to work, they do athletic field painting. That is very cool. It's like a separate business. Shoreliners Athletic Field Painting. Call 616-610-1351 for a quote on that. That's right prominent on their website. So if you any of your ADs or you know an AD, give the job to Shoreliners because it's going to save you money and they do a better job and they support this podcast. All right. How about Kim Lazara? What started out as a simple reference of a silly story that happened way back when. She was, 17, 18. I was 14, 15, and I was in love with her. Oh, my God. Holy crap. I told that story. She found out about it because of Boring Dean, that dumbass. It turned out to be a great story thread, though, in the podcast. And, well, I found out that she is a distributor of a product called Zingular. Zingular is a long line of health and wellness and immunity-boosting products that are just second to none. Okay? And, oh, my God, there's so many great products that they have that help you in weight loss, kickstart your metabolism, because, you know, a lot of you people aren't, world-class athletes like me. And, the second that I start training, the fat just falls off me. I get ripped in like 3 days' time. But, you know, some of you people might be older, younger, metabolism different. Well, what they do is you take the stuff, you eat it, you drink it, whatever it is, and, you know, you're eating less, you're eating appropriately, you're coupled with your diet and exercise program. They have all the knowledge of the great products that they have. My God, it's great. Metabolism boosting, immunity boosting, so much they have at Singular, spelled Xyngular. You can buy the Core system, control hunger, lose weight. The Ignite system, shift your habits, burn the fat, boost the energy. My God, the ultimate, transform your health, redefine your life. I need that. My life now, this is how I define my life. Do this podcast, have sex with crazed MMA fighter kook lady. Jesus, somebody help me. Do you have a product, Kim, that I can give my wife to calm her stupid libido down? Oh, God, I feel like a male hooker. Leave me alone. Individual products, cardio, daily health, immunity. Look at all this stuff. Jesus. Osteo, your bones are brittle. I know some of you are so old, it's ridiculous. All right. What I'm getting at, though, is on my website, ericzaneshow.com, you click on the Singular logo. It's a big turquoise X. That'll take you to Kim's Facebook page. You can get more information about her selling this stuff. It's awesome. Just go there, take a look, ask her a question. She's real open to any type of Q&A stuff. And so there you go. All right. Thank you to Kim for being on board with the show. All right, tomorrow is a Friday on the show. I hope to have a little bit less heavy of subject matter, but I feel like we're really hitting our stride on this. I actually do like talking about it because it's what the world is talking about, and I kind of like to be on top of it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, so as always, you can email me on the Green Clean Technologies inbox, eric@ericzaneshow.com. I got a ton of places where you can engage me as well. The Blue Frost IT Twitter handle @EricZaneShow. Facebook, facebook.com/Eric Zane fan page, brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair Grand Rapids Hybrid. YouTube, subscribe to my channel there. Instagram, where we'll be doing trivia tonight, normally on a Wednesday, brought to you by the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. And I just heard from yesterday, my longtime pal and voice of the Grand Rapids Griffins, Bob Kaiser. And the only reason why I'm not saying the best play-by-play voice I've ever heard is because it makes him so damn uncomfortable. But I just love his voice. I love the way he describes it. He has if you're familiar with Bruce Martin, old school Red Wings style of calling the game, it is throwback, and I'm just excited that Bob is with us. He has had some health concerns. He talked openly about he had a grabber during the year this year, and he's been able to rebound from that. Bob's been through the ringer this week because his store was looted in Grand Rapids. He owns Kilwin's, I don't even want to say Kilwin's Candy. Is it called Kilwin's Candy? That's the Kilwin's downtown in Grand Rapids, right next to the Bigby. Those fuckheads ripped up his joint. So Bob's picking up the pieces from that. And, of course, I'm talking to him. I go, Bob, I'm really sorry that happened to you. And he goes, we'll figure it out. We're going to take a little hit, but I worry about the other businesses that were already getting way. This is typical Bob. I always think about other people that got waylaid by the pandemic, and now they're dealing with this shit. Small businesses hurting. I go, I hear you, Bob. He goes, yeah, we'll be fine. Bob reached out to me just to chit-chat, and he's going to put me in front of a number of businesses that he thinks would fit on the podcast. And I'm like, dude, yeah, that's like the nicest thing in the world. I appreciate you so much. It's so good to hear your voice. So I bring that up because not to say, hey, this is what I got going, but one of the things I explained to Bob was on this podcast, Bob, there's no red tape. It's all handshake deals with all my clients. I put people front and center in the podcast for pennies as compared to what they'd be paying with radio. Most of my clients can't afford radio station ads. And so they just hope and rely on, I don't know, word of mouth, social media, and that's fine, but wouldn't it be nice to have me trumpeting your business on this podcast. I mean, you can tell the big and small ones on my show, like Mario here. He's all over the place every day of the week. Shoreliners, I put those guys in for next to nothing. Kim Lazara with Zingular. She's a big part of this show. I did it on her budget. My point is, if you got a business and you want somebody to spread the word I'm going to make it happen for you. I'm going to move the meter. All my sponsors do see a big-time responses. There's only a handful that I think didn't work out. Reach out to me, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. I can put you on this podcast for dirt cheap, and I will get you results, okay? And if it doesn't work, your investment isn't that big of a deal, so you're not like, fuck, Zane, I spent an arm and a leg with you. I don't have to charge you an arm and a leg because I don't have to share the money with anybody. That's how I make it happen. Eric at ericzaneshow.com, and I reach further than your stupid radio show, your boring shit show radio show. Too many mics, too many people, and no one really saying anything. Bored? Turn off the radio. That's it. I'm done. Have a good one, folks. I got some interesting stuff to talk about on my Patreon. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. You're not going to believe this sheriff doubling down on his love of guns for his constituents in one Florida county. You're going to love this guy. I don't want to be a looter in that place. You know what? I just got an email. I think I want to pause here and read it to you. A perfect example of how when I see an email, I'm constantly refreshing it on the Green Clean Technologies inbox. And so I'll read it. Matthew just sent it along. Thank you, Matthew, for reaching out during the podcast, during the live podcast. That's excellent. Zane, podcast thoughts, subject line. I don't always agree with you, but I love how you give credit when you feel it is due. Thank you. I pride myself on that. Specifically related to the Whitmer stuff that you just finished discussing about police brutality. Too many people in these days only see and care about the party. They support and refuse to acknowledge the other side when they have good ideas. Well, yeah, that's what you got to do, man. I'm trying to teach you people that it's okay to do that. Whitmer, fuck, I don't want her as the governor. She's a Democrat. Blech. But she made sense here. Good work. You got to live with her for the extent of her term. So why not? What's the big deal? He continues. It's nice to know you support accordingly and are willing to overlook the difference for what is good for the people. Thank you. I appreciate you for acknowledging that, Matthew. He says, I don't always listen to the podcast live. He sounds like the Dos Equis guy. I don't always. But when I do, I feel like writing to tell you how much I appreciate your honesty, openness, and willingness to discuss the important matters of the day. Well, I do too, frankly. To that point, I feel like I was meant to do this. I feel that all of those years, if I'm on the radio and I'm on a show, let's say right now, I'm on a show and I'm busy talking about, hey, all right, guys, we could talk about George Floyd and all the other bullshit and Drew Brees being a fuckhead, but we don't want to piss everybody off because people get mad. So instead, let's talk about the guy who shit out a sponge. I hate that. I'm not an elephant in the room guy. I get my laughs by my opinions. If I get a laugh, great, because of the things I say. But I'm not a comedian, man. You know, if what I say, if my points of view and the silliness and the nature of me and my wife demanding I have sex with her and her pulling my hair and sticking my head in her crotch makes you laugh, well, all right, great. At the end of the day, that's fine. Made me laugh. But I'm not going to sit here and ignore the big shit that, the world's talking about, because I'm scared that the people are going to get offended. Fuck, eat shit. If I worked on a radio show right now that did that, I'd fucking quit. Make me sick. And if you are a show that does that, you're shitty. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you're a radio show that does racist shit or ignores what everybody's talking about because you're afraid, fuck off. Jesus. Matt continues. I hope you and the families are still healthy and safe. We are. Thank you. I love the repost of Diana's fight at Disney from a few years back. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. Thank you. I still listen to all the old best of Free Beer and Hot Wings from when you were on their show while I'm running. And I always love when Diana shows up. She's crazy and damn funny. Yeah, I'll give those guys credit. They're doing something fantastic. I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again because, fuck, it's cool. They are selling the what they term it as pre-beer and hot wings, which is a clever way to play old shit. It's named cleverly. And you sign up for their membership, and you can hear their daily show at your discretion on demand. And the Saturday show, they deliver digitally only. It's all the old shit. So you'll hear like the sweater beat up or Joe rolling down the fucking hill in a tractor tire or, you know, the high point moments of the show. You can hear all that stuff. So I think it's fucking great, and you should sign up for it. I would too. Fuck, I'm thinking about signing up myself. She's crazy and damn funny. Yeah, she is crazy and damn funny. And she's horny, too. My God. Fuck. It's hilarious when she tries to push the narrative that she's meek. Oh, she's anything but meek. That's why I married her. Fuck. All right, folks. That's it. The work is done. The work is done. Thank you so much for being part of it. I appreciate you, every single one of you. You're all great. Good, bad, ugly. We do it all here on the podcast. I was meant to do this. Born to do this. Thank you. We'll talk to you down the road. Patreon is next. Got to play that shit kicker sheriff. An asteroid the size of the Empire State Building is in our celestial neighborhood. What? It would end life as we know it. I'm not going to clickbait you and say it's going to hit us. It's not, but it's pretty scary to think about it. That coming up. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Andrea, put your tits away.
Have you ever had your own breakfast? No breakfast.
Softball, and it's a home run. Call it binging. Nice boobs, Tyler.
We're getting
binging. Binging. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Good job, Kylie.
Binging. Binging. Let's go. Let's go.
This is all your fault.
I chased him down and whooped his ass.
If you can't handle a big dick joke, then get a fucking sense of humor. If you can't handle a big dick joke, then get a fucking sense of humor. So fuck you, Roger Bell.